about domination and submission, my feelings and reflections around this topic of domination and reflection. And I'm doing it in my kindergarten outfit because, or in my inner child outfit, which is just this green shirt and my green pants. The reason why I'm doing it in this outfit is just because I would love for people to know that this is innocence. This is something that is innocent. This is not sinful or naughty. And I think the reason I speak this is only because myself, I have had judgments towards this realm before when I didn't have understanding of this realm. So now that I have more deeper understanding of it, I feel that it is one of the most nourishing setups and containers ever to be in a dom or sub space. Now, that's not to say that I'm like super into that and that's something that I practice a lot and that I like, that's the thing that I do, because I don't. However, when I am blessed to have that experience with someone that is naturally also really into it, that's one piece for me, is that I'm very aware that the only way I want to do this type of thing with somebody is if they are masterful at it. I don't want to practice it. I don't want to practice with someone. I don't want to have a man that wants to practice being dominating to me when he's really not actually masterful at it. If he's not attuned, deeply present with himself and with me, if he just needs to be in a certain masterful level with himself, with other, and how he relates to the world, to the spirit, to God, everything needs to be really aligned. Because the only reason a woman or a man would ever submit to somebody else to dominate them is that I fully trust that they care about my heart and they will consider me and that they will be dominating me into something deeply pleasurable and nourishing, and really ultimately opening me up to experiencing truth and surrender and ecstasy and the divine through my form and deep states of pleasure. I, in the past, had so many judgments towards this realm. I was like, what kind of sick, twisted motherfuckers are doing that? That's violence. And the woman that's being submissive, she must not have very high self-worth at all, because she's letting that man do that to her. As with many things, certain things that are a little forbidden or taboo is what gets people off. The forbidden, the slightly perhaps naughty or dark. Sometimes these things are a big turn on. Having someone do certain things like bite, grab, be a little bit forceful is a turn on. To do that which might be considered unacceptable in many spaces, but to do it in a way where we have both agreed upon that it's allowed, it's a yes, I'm in consent, and obviously having safe words if that's needed, but not even needed in many ways, because I mean obviously it is needed, but the only way that I would ever go into that container is when it's with someone that I know, I feel it in my deepest part of me, will only ever lead me to the depth of truth. My experience of it recently was super nourishing. I felt scary. It felt scary to go into the space and put myself in that situation of either dominating or being dominated, because that was also an option. I had an option to actually dominate someone, but that's not something that comes as easily to me, to dominate. I'm much more naturally into being submissive. And that might just be because I'm a woman or whatever, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of women that love to be dominating too, so I don't know. It's just the way that I work. There's something about feeling like I can really soften and let go. And that's the thing. To me, softening and letting go is power. That is strength. For me as a woman, to soften and let go is strength. Sometimes when I talk about these topics, I feel a little bit afraid of women judging me for speaking in these ways, because they might think that I'm wanting to give my power away to a man. I'm not. I'm in my power when I own this part of me that likes to submit and soften and surrender so deeply that my heart fully opens, and all I'm left with is a feeling of floating in the bliss of this universe. And the beautiful thing is that when we're with a man that is deeply loving and caring, yet also very dominant, he will take care of me. He will take care of me till the very end. So if in a dom sub session, there's a lot of intensity, and maybe sometimes it looks even sort of violent in some ways. Maybe it could. Some people really like some really dark shit, but then that's okay. It's just not my thing. I like more like biting, perhaps, yeah, grabbing, wrestling, holding down, things like that. Restrained, definitely biting. I'm being held down and just told what to do by a man who is not afraid to tell me what to do, who is not afraid to own what he wants and take his pleasure, because he also is so deeply attuned to me that he knows that that pleasure that he wants to take and what he wants to do is actually a yes for me, because he's feeling me all throughout the journey together, in the subtlety, in the subtle ways. He's feeling me in all the rounds, and that's how it can be safe. If we're with a man that doesn't feel us and connect to our heart, and that's not being present, that's when that kind of shit can get really fucked up and horrible. And that's where I'm a big fuck no. I'm a no to that. And I'm a yes to sober, awake, heart-centered, dom, sub containers. Only that. Very clear, set containers. Safe spaces in these rounds. Not the kind where people are doing dom, sub, and they're drinking and they're, under the influence of something, and they're not even really talking about deeper things like their needs and things. Like, it's actually, and it's not even for a higher purpose, it's just for like some sort of perverted getting off, and like that's not a bad thing either. However, I feel like if I'm gonna have some sort of perverted getting off, it better damn well be leading me to God, to the divine, to experiencing the beloved within, to seeing that I am love. That's what a dom and sub session is going to bring, if it's done correctly, in my opinion. And I really don't know how it is for being in the dominating role. I imagine that it must feel really powerful and beautiful and touching to have someone submit like that to you and really trust your guidance, and that might really, bring also a lot of beauty. But I can't speak to it because I haven't done it much, and it's not something that I'm necessarily wanting to do unless it's super aligned and it like makes sense. So yeah, I really just wanted to take a moment to release any feelings of shame or guilt or judgments that I've had towards this area, and really just speak to the healing, medicinal aspect of dom and submissive practices. And I'm not saying that it's something that everybody should do, and also it's not a turn on for everybody. Not everybody wants to be put into just dominating role or submissive. They want to like flow between the two, and that's beautiful too, obviously. And I'm not always only wanting to be in those types of things. Like, I love being in my healthy, mature masculine, and then in my feminine, and then, you know, holding my partner with love, and then he holding me, and then going back and forth and being very fluid and just meeting the moment how it comes. But then I also really love the actual structured, like, or really clearly set container where I'm submitting fully, you're dominating, and that's it. And then let's see where we go from there. And obviously, if it's not feeling safe and if it's not feeling good, we don't do it. We say no. I say no. I walk away. Whatever it is that needs to be done. It's not hard to take care of ourselves. It's actually really simple. So there never needs to be any space for blaming or shaming or anything if we are in our empowered yes and no. When I was not understanding the why of why people did this before, I would judge it as really sick, and I would really think that those people are evil and really bad. I judged it so much, and I was so afraid of it. I just was turned off by the whole BDSM kink scene. And yeah, that's another thing. I'm not into that scene. I'm not into whips and leather and, you know, the kind of stereotype of that scene. I'm not into one bit. However, then there's the really like tantric, kind of more hippie-ish, like spiritual, kinky, BDSM, dom sub type of space, where people look just like gorgeous gods and they want to dominate you. Like, come on ahead. However, no, don't come on ahead, because there ain't many men that I would ever submit to. It's so rare. So I celebrate myself for having the courage to go into a space to do that, and I celebrate the beauty of the men who are so deeply attuned to a woman's body that they are able to do these things in ways where they open up a woman and soften her and truly care for her, while also owning that they are a being that loves pleasure and that is going to take it for himself, versus instead playing the nice guy, still wanting sex, because if you're the nice guy, you're going about it in a much more divert, manipulated way. Because you're the nice guy, you're going to go about it in a roundabout way. Meanwhile, there are some men who will just tell you. But first, obviously, they'll feel that it's appropriate because they'll already have sensed that the body, and somehow they will know that I already want to hear that because they've observed me, they've watched me and seen. It's such a magical thing. It's like a whole freaking very cool space to be around humans like that. I love it so much to be around men that are that attuned and that are not afraid to speak clearly what they want. And then there are the men that are not attuned to me, that are not present, but they speak what they want. And then it just doesn't work at all. That's such a turn off. It's like, what are you doing? You didn't even take one moment to actually feel where I'm at and if I was even open to you. But if it's the opposite and you feel my openness and you trust in that and you're connected to the Holy Spirit and you do that, like you say something very edgy to me, I'm probably going to be a yes and be very happy and joyful and say, fuck yes, this is a party. Or this is a time to celebrate. So what is your relationship to the dom sub world? Have you ever been submitting? Have you ever been very deeply submissive and allowed yourself to fully surrender and soften? Have you been in the dominating role, and how has that been for you? What are the medicinal qualities and realizations, and what is the nourishment that you receive from being in the dominating role? What is the deeper, like bigger reason for why you like it? Why do you enjoy being a dom? And also, if you're loving being a submissive, why do you love being submissive? What does it give you? Like I said, for me, it gives me a feeling of being so deeply grounded in my power and just like, everything is good in the world. And I feel so deeply cared for. And it reminds me of how always I'm so deeply cared for by my Heavenly Father Sky, Father Sun, and by Mother Earth, and how I'm held in their love sandwich. That's what a good dom sub session has felt like for me. And it's what's only ever felt. I haven't done it a lot, but when I have, that's what it's been. So only deep gratitude for the space and for the people that share it in conscious ways, safe ways. Deep gratitude to the people that share it in artistic, beautiful ways and bring it all over the world. I'm so grateful for those teachers and leaders. And yeah, that's all for this video today. Please comment down below on the questions I just asked around all that. Please share with me. I'd love to start a conversation. And like my channel, my video, I mean. And subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. All right. Thank you.